Thanks for everyone who makes our congregation possible, from our music director, Les, and our worship associate, Shawn, to our tech team, which includes a new member today, Rob Fulson, who's learning the ropes from Simon back there. 2 dads are on tech today. Happy Father's Day to you and to all our fathers here this morning. Thanks also to the folks who greeted you, who prepared the coffee, who care for our children, who clean up after us and lock the doors. We are grateful. So as we gather this Fathering Sunday, take a moment now just to settle, find yourself in your body. Take a moment to listen to your heart, the sounds of the people around you. If you haven't already done it, make sure you silence your devices so that our time together remains set aside, uninterrupted for worship. And now prepare your hearts to hear our opening music.
Thank you, Les. Good morning, everyone. I'm Shawn Gibson. I'm your worship associate for the day. And as we always do at the beginning of our service, we will begin by lighting our chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. We kindle this chalice today in recognition of the deeply human journey we are all on together. In honor of the extraordinary tenderness, strength, and love each of us is capable of, and in profound confidence of the powerful difference that we can make together. And now we'll rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn. The words will be on your screen. It's hymn 181, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. We will be doing it in English first, we will be doing the second verse in Spanish, and we will be doing the last verse in English again. And don't worry, the Spanish will also be on your screen.
Then
Let us sing our children out to and our youth to their Band Books summer program. If you weren't aware of that, the children and youth this summer are reading banned books, so that's a really awesome program. So we would like to invite any visitors. If you're new with us and your children would like to join the program, please follow them out, and so you'll know where to pick them up when that time is over. And let's sing our kids out.
And now I want to invite you, if you will, take a moment to settle your hearts into a time of meditation or prayer. This prayer today was originally written by the priest John O'Donohue. It's adapted for us this morning. Blessed be the creation that dreamed the blueprint of life, that it would begin to glow on earth, illuminating all the faces and voices that would arrive to invite your soul to growth. Praised be your father and mother who shaped you before you were and trusted to call you here with no idea who you would be. Blessed be those who have loved you into becoming who you were meant to be. Blessed be those too who have crossed your life with dark gifts of hurt and loss that have helped to school your mind in the act and art of disappointment. When desolation surrounded you, blessed be those who looked for you and found you, their kind hands urgent to open a blue window in the gray wall formed around you. Blessed be the gifts you never notice, your health, eyes to behold the world, thoughts to countenance the unknown, memory to harvest vanished days, your heart to feel the world's waves, your breath to breathe the nourishment of distance made intimate by earth. Amen. Today, our joys and sorrows and concerns and the things that we carry in our heart, we're going to carry them differently together, a slightly different ritual from the one that we do each week. Shawn will show you what we have here. Now, first, you may see we have a tray of blackberries. Now, this tray of blackberries is meant to, as we gather this Fathering Sunday, we all have different ways of being with that experience of parenting and fathering in our lives. Sometimes it's been joyful, maybe it's been absent. There's so many things we carry. The tray of blackberries represents if there's something you hunger for in that relationship, if there's a hunger you carry still, we invite you this morning to take a blackberry and feed that hunger that you carry. In the middle, we have a vessel of sea glass and water. And this is if you have something that needs to be forgiven. Maybe you need to be forgiven in that relationship. Maybe you need to forgive in that relationship. If something needs to be forgiven, we invite you to take a piece of sea glass and slip it into the vessel of water so it may be washed clean. And if In that relationship, you have joys, you've experienced moments of grace or comfort. We invite you to take a rock and place it in front of the flowers, which represent beauty and all that is so good in our lives and in our relationships. And not last at all, Shawn himself here. He's representing that deeply male principle. And if you need a hug, if you need to be seen and accepted, Shawn is here to offer you the grace of that blessing of a hug. And so this morning we invite you to do as we always do, make 2 lines right around our stairway, and then come forward and be filled if you're hungry, be forgiven if you need that, share your blessing or receive a hug. And if we can keep the circles flowing this way, you come down, you go out and back, that will help us all. Please join us in this ritual of communion. Thank you to everyone who participated, who made this a part of your morning with us. May the things that we share here carry with us into the world, and of course, we hold in our reflection time all of our community who isn't present with us in body, they are present with us in spirit.
Our reflection this morning is an excerpt from an interview between New York Times writer David Marchese and feminist author Caitlin Moran about her recent book, What About Men? Feminism has a stated objective, which is the political, social, sexual, and economic equality of women. With men, there really is no stated objective or an aim. Because there isn't, what I have observed is that the stuff that is getting the most currency is on the conservative side. Men going, our lives have gotten materially worse since women started asking for equality. We need to reset the clock. We need to have power over women again. We are talking about the problems of women and girls at a much higher level than we are about boys and men. We need to identify the problems and work out what we want the future to look like for men in a way that women have already done for themselves. So what should the future look like for men? It feels that every so often a book about men comes out and a small conversation flares up, and the conclusion usually is, it's a thing you should sort out yourselves, men. There's no sense of a continuing conversation, of there being a new pantheon of men being invented all the time. Then those inventions embedding themselves more firmly into the mainstream. I mean, look at Beyonce or Phoebe Waller-Bridge. When we invent a new kind of woman or a new way of talking about women, it gets quickly absorbed into the mainstream. Whereas in the male conversation, it doesn't feel like something that spreads out across other genres. It just sort of happens in isolation.
like a bridge that was washed away. My foundations were made of clay. As my soul slides down to die, how could I lose him? What did I try? Bit by bit, I realized that he was here with me. I looked into my father's eyes, my father's eyes. I looked into my father's eyes, my father's eyes, my father's eyes, my father's eyes. I looked into
If you aren't familiar with that song by any chance, that's Eric Clapton's My Father's Eyes, and I encourage you to take some time, look at the lyrics, maybe listen to it again. Can you hear me fine? Okay, great. In 1981, my father became my primary caregiver. My parents had separated, my mom had other priorities, and my dad did as he always has, took responsibility. He put a lot of his own life on hold and made a place for my brother and I, making breakfast every single morning. He got up, it was almost always pancakes. Cooking every evening. He took us on outings. He paid attention to us, even as he was mostly a quiet presence then as now. He's a man of few words. He listened to me chatter. He expressed interest in the music I listened to. He gave me all the talks a parent is supposed to give their kid. Living with a single dad was actually more unusual then. The movie Mr. Mom with Michael Keaton wouldn't be out for another year, and courts were predisposed to handing kids over to their mothers in divorce as a matter of course. For my father to get custody of me, I had to agree formally to tell the court I wanted to live with him. It was miserable for everyone. Embedded in all of this was a frame of patriarchy, of proscribing both women and men's lives in such a way as to limit them, to assume things about who they are, what they wanted, what they were even capable of. Years later, all of this would strike me very differently when a male friend of mine, who had previously been known by a woman's name, told me about an experience taking his child to the park. Now, my friend had given birth to his child, and as a single parent, he'd been taking his kiddo to the park all the child's life. Now, however, he was seen as a man at the park with a child. The looks and the energy was different, he said. He got questions about who he was, what he was doing there. It didn't help that he and his son appeared to others to be of different races, so racism and sexism on the playground in Technicolor. Gender is a wide, wonderful, and varied experience. Being human fully is always our goal. But today I want to focus on some of the issues that male-identified people are facing. As a feminist, I've had my own journey on this topic. Feminism, as was pointed out earlier in the reading, is a theory intended to create equality between people, all people. But I'm sure I don't have to tell you that generally speaking, feminism focuses on the experiences inside patriarchy of women. It centers our concerns, our issues, our development. And here's a true thing. We have come a long way. There's backlash now, and there's been backlash to progress forever, and gender parity is not yet here. But today, there are a lot of ways to be a woman in this world and succeed. More importantly for this conversation, there's room to talk about the issues that women face and to take them seriously. That's good. More of that, please. and. It was only about a month after arriving in Wyoming that I had to do my first memorial service for a man who had committed suicide. Wyoming's suicide rate is double the national average, about 24%. And 85% of those who kill themselves in Wyoming are men. Why? I mean, I bet you can already guess. The high rate of gun ownership, most men in Wyoming kill themselves with a gun. But it's the rugged individualism of the culture and the conservative social notions of what it means to be a man, a provider, independent, stoic, manly, which means apparently not all touchy-feely, talking about emotions, sharing what you're going through. You suck it up. You take it like a man, and if you can't, the message men take in is, you are not good enough. You are not acceptable. Get out. And I promise you, men in Wyoming get the message. Being a woman, because of my own experience, I've fought hard for my own place in a system that has privileged men. And as a result, from time to time, I have gleefully teased and made fun of men's experience and felt like they could suck it up a bit, as I had. The thing is, no one grows by being ignored or put down or having their experience or concerns trivialized and minimized. All of us need all of us to survive. As Shawn shared earlier, Caitlin Moran is a well-known feminist author who several years ago began to find herself asking and being asked, now she's been writing about feminism for a long time, but she was being asked some awkward questions. As she spoke about women's experience as people, especially mothers of boys, but not just them, asked, but what about men? She took the question seriously eventually, and her research showed some really painful seams. Men, especially young men and boys, are struggling. No one's helping them have the kinds of conversations and explorations that women, girls, and even gender-expansive folks seem to be having about who they are and how they can be themselves and thrive. In the absence of clear, appealing, and sound advice, she writes, coming from the good, liberal, progressive men of my generation, boys have found the only men who are talking about it. Men in chat rooms, influencers on YouTube and TikTok, places where phrases like feminism has gone too far and feminazi and feminism is a cancer are just day-to-day chat. A world of ironic sexism, the manosphere, that online equivalent of a locker room, people like Jordan B. Peterson, folks like men's rights activists, and incels, which, if, by the way, you don't know what that is, that's a person who identifies themselves as someone who is sexually abstinent because of what women are doing to them, not having sex with them. Dr. Simon Vogt, a professor of applied ethics teaching in Berlin, agrees with Moran. The world is changing, cultures and mores and education. In a piece called Men's Problems Are Real Problems, he writes, there is a worrying trend of denying that the problems men struggle with exist or are important. Loneliness, sexual frustration, confusion over what is appropriate, pressures to conform, difficulties in dealing with emotions, all are trivialized and dismissed. Doing so is not helpful, and it only creates more distrust, hurt feelings, and an unwillingness to improve. We need to admit men's problems are real problems, and they actually start solving them. And one of the things that I loved about this post was that he lists some of the most common struggles that are present today among men, especially those who are still learning what the world expects of them. Here are a few questions that we should grapple with alongside men. How to live in a world that professes all the lofty values, but still rewards men for being dominant, aggressive, and outright toxic. How not to feel useless when traditional male roles are not needed anymore. How to develop new values and beliefs when our social group pressures us to stick to the old ways. How to deal with loneliness, either by accepting it or by finding a partner. How do we express our desire and admiration for women without being creepy? How do we become more emotionally intelligent and allow ourselves to be vulnerable when others, including those who want this from us, exploit it to call us fragile and to demean us? How do we raise our sons to be better, but also ensure they're not bullied by those who would exploit their vulnerability? How do we listen to women and make them feel heard without implying that they're always right? How do we stand our ground when we think we're right, but we don't want to mansplain or abuse our privilege and our power? Which of our behaviors are really inappropriate? And when are people being differently sensitive? This is Father's Day. Why are we lifting up these questions about men today? Because all of us need a world in which we can have honest, vulnerable, transparent, and hard conversations about the challenges we face in a rapidly changing world. We need places and spaces where we can struggle and be uplifted, even if each of us doesn't need every single space for that. We all need and long to be seen, to understand how to be our best selves, to be honored for our unique strengths and gifts. That includes men, who are too often left to just figure it out on their own. Moran puts it this way. She says, "What being a man is, in its ostensibly mundane, but actually momentous detail, how to shed your child body and become an adult, how to negotiate the whitewater rapids of sexual desire, how to self-soothe your sadness and anger, how to cope with defeat and loss, how to be a father, how to love, how to age, how to gain the kind of confidence and happiness that not only makes you confident and happy, but everyone you love too. In short, how to become a well-adjusted, average, contented man, able to talk about his problems without fear or shame." Men are a blessing in this world. Fathering is a role that has incredible power to bless, and just like any relationship, it can falter or be abused. I hope it goes without saying that families come in all kinds of configurations, and the work of parenting is and can be shared by people of any gender. I believe our goal as people of faith is to remember to bring a compassionate heart to all of these struggles we encounter. And while we don't need to equally take them on necessarily, hopefully we can be companions and affirm the value of everyone having access to what they need on their own journey to wholeness. And this, of course, includes men whose problems, yes, are real, and who are equally as deserving of compassion as they travel that human journey. Now, in honor of Father's Day, I want to close with a poem. You know, it's just one among millions. It's just one person reflecting on the memories of one fathering experience among millions. But it's beautiful, and it's what we'll end our time here with. It's called My Father's Lunch by Erika Funkhausen. My Father's Lunch. Saturday afternoon, he'd sit at the kitchen table in khakis and a work shirt. White napkin, a beer, the serrated knife. Pieces of prosciutto or head cheese or kippered herring layered on slabs of black bread. Outside, the ripe hayfields or the stacks of shutters or the forest needing to be cleared or the snow needing to be pushed aside lay still as they waited for him to finish his lunch. For now he was ours, whether he smelled of choke cherry, tractor oil, or twine. He'd wash his hands with brown naphtha soap and splashed water onto his face and shake it off like a dog. He'd offer more ham, more bread to anyone who sat down. This was work too, but he did it slowly, with no impatience, not yet reminding the older boys that he'd need them later, or asking the smaller children if we'd stored the apples or shoved last year's hay out the wonderful window to nowhere. This was the interlude of nearly translucent slices, of leaning back in the smooth wooden chair and wiping white foam from his lip as the last beads of beer rose calmly to the surface of the glass. We could see it was an old meal with the patina of dream going back to the first days of bread and meat and work. All our lives, my brothers, my sister, and I will eat this same meal, savoring its provisional peace, remembering. Amen, Ashe, Aho, blessed be.
Now let us rise in body or spirit as we sing our last hymn. The hymn number is in the teal hymnal 1021, Lean on Me. The words are also on the screen. Now is the time that we turn to the work of our congregation, and this is also the time where we would like to invite any visitors. If you're new with us and you'd like to stand and introduce yourself, if you're willing, we've got people coming around with microphones. So yeah. Yeah, tell us your name and where you're from. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dick Cook. I came from Reston, Virginia, and I'm here for the weekend to visit family.
Thank you. Welcome.
I'm Mary Moore. I've been a UUer most of my life. I am what I think everybody calls now a halfback. I never knew that term, but coming up from Florida, just bought a house up here and really love it. Thank you.
Welcome. Anyone else? There we go.
Hi, I'm Bill DeFoyd. I'm here with my wife Trudy. We're from Austin. Brought our little dog Willie. We're up here for about 6 weeks, kind of escaping the heat.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
came once last year toward the end of our stay and really liked this room full of love. So came back today.
Welcome. Welcome.
Hi, I'm John. I am a UUer, and I've taken a few years away from the congregation just to do a little bit of inner well-being, spiritual journey seeking, all those fun things, and it's good to be back.
Welcome. Welcome. All right. There. Ooh, yeah.
We've got some on this side too.
Oh, no, you're welcome.
Gordon Griffith, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Adam, my son, and wonderful family.
Welcome.
Love Asheville.
Hi, my name's Kendall Hale. My mother was a Unitarian, my father was an atheist, and I became a spiritual seeker, and I joined this congregation a long time ago, but sort of the same thing. I've been on a vacation of sorts, seeking other kinds of spiritual paths, but I'm back here, and I just love the changes and the improvements. And actually, I see an absence of young people, but that's to be expected in this day and age. So it's good to see aged people here, because I'm old, and my husband here is older than me, and we're really happy with being here with all of you, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Shu. I'm here with my husband Charlie, and we're both here with my mother-in-law Barbara, who just came for the first time 2 weeks ago. You came for the first time 2 weeks ago, but she's been a lifelong UUer, and we're checking out the congregation. We've been living in Asheville since November.
Welcome. All right, well, thank you and welcome. Oh, here's another, sorry.
Sorry, I had a fussy kid over here. I'm Mary Smith. This is Logan LeRae, my husband Leroy, and our daughter Mia. We're here visiting our godmom. This is actually our second time visiting. We came last year Mother's Day. We didn't make it this year Mother's Day, but came for Father's Day. You want to say hi? Hey.
Welcome. And welcome back. All right, look, thank you for everyone who stood and introduced themselves. And we'd like to invite everyone to remember our visitors, welcome them to our coffee hour after the service. And where's Trevor? Trevor, don't see Trevor. You may find Trevor in the other side as well. He's our welcome coordinator. He's wearing a rainbow shirt. So you'll see Trevor at the coffee hour. Our announcements run as slides at the beginning of the service. If you missed them, refer to Thursday's weekly e-news, as everything is described there. And if you don't receive our e-news, email us at information@uuasheville.org. Our community plate recipient this month is Prison Books. You can donate by check, but be sure to write community plate in the memo line. All cash donations will be split with our community plate partner, and you can also donate online. The work and ministries of this congregation are entirely supported by the generosity of our members and our friends. We celebrate your generosity each Sunday with music and with thanks. You make us possible, and we give you thanks. The offering will now be gratefully received. For the gift of your time, your presence, your wisdom, and your resources, we are truly grateful.
How many of you know that hymn from some former congregation, just out of curiosity? I understand it's a classic in certain places. So here we are at the end of our service, and I'm so grateful for the time that we've had together. We are going to share a few words and then sing our closing song, Longtime Son. So I invite you now, if you're willing and able to do so, to rise to the peak of your physical or your spiritual stature. We'll share these words, then sing together and head out to coffee hour, where we really do hope you'll join us for a little bit of time. For whomever you love and those who love you, for whatever helps open your heart and face this beautiful and troubled world, let us be grateful. And now let us sing.
It's old camp meeting music, isn't it?